Occupy protesters are staying put in Toronto. They want a reprieve to keep their camp intact, at least for now. Overnight, demonstrators celebrated the injunction that stopped the eviction order that would have forced them out of St. James Park at midnight. And they even had a little visit from a Canadian music legend.
There is no solution to it. There are too many people, too many young people, and not enough jobs.
Gordon Lightfoot didn't actually turn out to join the protest. He was there visiting his 17-year-old daughter, who's been in the park for a month. Melanie Nagy is at Toronto's St. James Park and joins us live with the latest. So, Melanie, give us a sense of what's happening in the park this morning.
Well, why don't you just take a look? I'll step a bit out of the scene for you. As you can see, the tents are still up. People are in the park. Morning is underway here down at Occupy Toronto. What happens usually in the morning is people tend to huddle. It's very organized at times. They'll break into committees. Already this morning, some of the protesters were out cleaning up the park. They are planning for a General Assembly later on today as well. That's when they all come together to meet, discuss issues. So already this morning, some activity. Of course, people here very pleased that they received that temporary injunction. That's something they were celebrating last night. Interesting enough, yesterday when we were here, after that eviction notice came from the city, some of the people actually pulled down their tents, some of them in this area, but some people also moved their tents, Andrew, over towards the church. And you can see the church here border St. James Park, moving closer to the church, because people here say that has, it's surrounded by private property, and it's a bit different than other Occupy sites because there is this bit of private property. So a lot of the protesters moving closer to there. A lot of discussions around what the church will do in regards to their property, and we understand the church has been speaking to the city. In the past, officials from the church have said that they won't intervene with the protests. So that'll be an interesting situation to watch. And as I mentioned, for today, things pretty quiet down here at Occupy Toronto. No marches planned, just meetings as well. People here at the park taking to social media like Facebook and Twitter just to still try to get support from the community for what they're doing down here for Occupy Toronto.
It is an interesting point you raise, Melanie, about that private property around the church, because if, let's say, the judge does decide to kick the protesters out of that public part, do they go to the private part of the church, and does it become like an outdoor sanctuary? So that will be interesting to see if the church wants them there. But let's talk a little bit about the reaction from the city to the court injunction that's letting the protesters stay there. You touched on that a little bit. They clearly must be happy.
City officials have said, they said yesterday that what they have demonstrated, they say in regards to Occupy Toronto, is patience. And they say now patience is running thin and they want people to pack up. They mentioned damage to the park. They mentioned a need to winterize this park and also respect for the businesses and residents who live in the area. Last night, our cameras managed to catch up with Mayor Rob Ford. He was busy all day yesterday in meetings, but we managed to meet up with him last night. Here's what he had to say about what's going on here and as well the judge's decision to give a temporary reprieve to the eviction.
Patients are running a little thin, and if that's what the judge said, that's what the judge said. So we'll see you Saturday morning and take it from there. But, just want everything to remain peaceful, and they should just remove themselves from the park as soon as possible.
And they would like people to move from the park as soon as possible, but peacefully. They do not want to see violence down or any confrontations at the park. As far as the legal procedures, the next step is both sides, the city and lawyers for Occupy Toronto, will be in court on Friday to present their arguments. Then from there, we understand that the judge presiding over the case looking to have a decision on Saturday as to what the next step will be when it comes to Occupy Toronto. Andrew?
All very interesting, especially with some city councillors not siding with the mayor, even a divided city council on this issue as well. Melanie, thank you very much. Melanie Nagy at St. James Park in Toronto.